Well, hello, Miranda.
Hello.
Thank you so much for just taking the time, especially on such short notice, to meet with me. For those who don't know you, aren't familiar, can you please briefly explain who you are and what you're so passionate about, what you do?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me. I was excited to get your message.
Sure.
I was like, come on over. Let's do this right now. Okay. So Miranda, who I am, let's see, when people ask me, who are you? I usually have a hard time with that question because I think a lot of people want the titles, right? Oh, I run
Right.
masterminds.
What do you
I'm
do?
the host of LinkedIn Local. I do all these fancy things. But honestly, if I'm true to that question, who I am, I'm a mother. I am a wife. I am a speaker. I am passionate about women and progress and their potential and helping them to find their calling here on earth. But what guides all of that is really first and foremost, I am the daughter of a king. I love me some Jesus.
Yeah.
And I am not
I
shy
didn't know
about
that
it.
about you.
Yes. You'll know more of that as time progresses. I feel a little more called in this season to speak more about that and to be evangelical about my passions for my
I
faith.
literally had no idea about that till just the second.
Well, now we got to start all over again. No, yes. So that guides everything I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a master's in motivational and professional development, and you are on the Forbes Coaching Counsel. So those are two like really huge like bragging rights. Like what, talk to me about like those skills and how you use those skills
Of course.
with
So
your business.
hashtag humble brags over here. I got it. All right. So yes, Forbes obviously is an amazing part of my business. I'm a part of their coaching council, and what that really means is that I get to write for them, which is like awesome. It's kind of crazy. I get to obviously put their stickers all over my promotional material. And really what I love to do is they send a bunch of questions every month to those a part of the coaching council, and we get to answer them. And then they will use what we say as experts and put it out into the articles. And we can write long form articles too, but I've just been having so much fun answering questions. I could do that all day.
Wow.
It's like I'm just a lifelong interviewee. I love it. So that is a huge part of what I do, but it is also just a part of it, right? So I host LinkedIn Local. I run masterminds.
What is LinkedIn Local?
So LinkedIn Local is a connection event. It's essentially a networking event where people get together and do business together. But the cool part about it is it's everybody who's on LinkedIn take your profiles offline, come meet each other in person and get to know the person behind the profile. So it's not, I don't have a name tag that says I'm Miranda, I'm a Forbes coach. It says I'm Miranda, I love cheese. Like just something random, like get to know me as a human. And then ultimately we will probably do business together, or I'll refer you business or vice versa, because I got to know you as a human, as an individual, and what you love to do, not just what you do.
So now that I know you love cheese, that's great. But what is your business?
Okay.
What is it called? Like, is your
cheese.
business Miranda VonFricken, or is it coaching, masterminding? Like, what is it that encompasses your business?
So I'm LLC, just my name, because
Okay.
essentially what I do, I'm branding myself as a speaker and as a coach and future author, putting that out there now.
Yep.
Y'all heard it first. But I do have, my DBA would be talent, culture, brands. Because
Okay.
really that's
Okay, yep.
essentially the talent piece is the recruiting, the helping people find jobs, the career coaching, the resumes, mock interviews, connecting talent to opportunity. The cultural piece is literally going in and helping companies build their culture, lunch and learns, helping people to build their individual culture, because there can be a culture of one, right? Your mindset, how you do life, how you define yourself. And then brands is pretty much what it is. It's helping you to articulate that talent and culture to the public.
Okay, good. That clears up a lot of, I think, confusion for maybe somebody
Yes.
who hasn't been to your profile yet and learned all that information.
I do a lot with the coaching and the personal branding and LinkedIn, and titles are, I used to live on titles. I'm not going to lie. I'm a reformed titleaholic. But since then, it's really just about how can I help you elevate your way of living in your life. Yeah.
Yep. One really cool way I've I recently heard somebody explain, instead of saying like, oh, what do? You ask like, what fills your day?
Yes.
And that's a cool way to find out like what a person's all about.
Absolutely.
So
That's a good way of putting it.
I like that.
Yeah.
So, you know, in this time, I guess, of uncertainty in our like social health and a lot of people in a scarcity mindset, I'm specifically referring to the coronavirus, but in other areas of life, this can impact our business. What are your thoughts on, I guess, like that scarcity mindset and this pandemic, and how has it impacted how you do business?
So my first and foremost thought on that would be faith over fear, right? 100%. We can live in fear and thoughts of scarcity, or we can live as hope-filled people who see this as an opportunity to really show up, right? I feel like situations like this, whether it's coronavirus or something completely different, people will be more of who they already are, right? So if you are living in a scarcity mindset, you're afraid of everything, you're stocking up on toilet paper because, the computers are all going to take over or something, like no matter where you're coming from, you're going to do more of it during a time like this. And if you are kind-hearted and giving and selfless, you're going to do more of that too. So my thought is, if you can get yourself to answer a few questions, mainly, how does this affect me personally and how can I help others during this time? If you can answer those two questions, I think you'll be okay, right? So personally, it's affected me more so my business, I think, than personally. I can't socialize as much, and I feel like I get my energy from other people, so that's a little hard. So I have to adjust as to how I feel my cup and how I get my energy, right? Professionally, I'm a speaker. So aside from you guys coming to my home, which is like the highlight of my week, humans, woo! Aside from that, though, a lot of things have been canceled, and I'm losing money, just like a lot of people are. So you have to, we got to pivot, right? It's time to get creative. I use this as an opportunity. Scarcity mindsets serve no one, right? It does definitely, they don't serve us. When you're stocking up on toilet paper and, no one else can go to the bathroom. Yeah. Who is that serving besides you? Although it's not, because it's probably like hoarded in the closet somewhere. So all we can really do is just kind of trust the fact that we'll get through this, as we always do. This is not the first time we've been in some sort of crisis. But watch for the helpers. Be one of the helpers. Show up to somebody who needs you, and we'll get through this together.
I like how you say watch for the helpers and be one of them.
Yeah.
A lot of small businesses like restaurants, mom and pops, they're being affected by this scarcity mindset. And there is a fear, I think, of people losing their job or not being able to, pay the bills. As a career coach, what advice can you give to our listeners who maybe lost their job or they're afraid of losing their job? Like, what advice can you give to them?
So there are two different ones. So if they've already lost their job, they have options, right? So unemployment, they've waived their 7-day waiting period. So go to unemployment, get on wait list, or get on there, whatever you have to do. I hear it's very busy these days.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, that's going to help give you money right away, right? So unfortunately, you won't be able to earn other money while on unemployment. So this isn't the opportunity for you to start a business, but it is an opportunity for you to think about maybe what's going to happen after, because you're not going to stay on unemployment forever. Either the business is going to let you come back, or there's going to be an opportunity for you to do something else, to do something better, to work for a company that paid their people while they were gone, to find the companies that are doing right by their employees and maybe be a part of that.
So you're saying like maybe use this as an opportunity, like find the silver lining and figuring that. Like, I'm just trying to clarify.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So if you are laid off, and you can do one of two things, really. You can position yourself as an expert on LinkedIn, right? And you can say, and make sure you tell your employer, the minute I get back, I'm ready to hit the ground running. So just keep in contact with your employer because you plan on going back, and maybe that was something they communicated. That's a possibility. Or you figure out what's next, right? So you can grow your personal brand. You can start brainstorming business ideas. You can clean your basement out and figure out, how am I going to sell all this junk? You know what I mean? Like, there are so many opportunities right now for people who are scared. Instead, they can turn this into an opportunity. And it's not just a silver lining. I mean, maybe you were miserable in your job and you got let go and you're like, woohoo, woohoo, like this is awesome. But maybe you loved your job, right? So you can keep doing it. Maybe it's not for that company anymore. Maybe it'll be for another company, but you don't have to stop doing what you love because you got laid off, whether it's during coronavirus or anything else. And I'm speaking by experience. I've been position eliminated 4 times in the last 5 years. So I was a 9-to-5er previous to going full time in my business. And the first time I got laid off, the world collapsed. My whole insides fell out. It was such an emotional time for me, but that gave me the opportunity to find out who I was really meant to be, why God put me on this earth, and what I can do to kind of live out my calling. It was a great opportunity for me. I can say that now because it's over.
Right, of course.
But I assure your listeners, whether you've been laid off or whether you're still in flux and have no idea what's happening, this can be an opportunity for you. Don't be scared. Just wait until you get the facts. And once you get the facts, then you can make decisions from there.
Recently on my blog, Honestly Maggie, I produced a post about what to do, like tips to how to work from home. So for those who still have their job, but they're working from home because they're avoiding the spread of germs, how can our audience make the best use of their time?
So assuming their children are also home.
Yep.
I did a post recently about this on LinkedIn and how working from home is a cool opportunity, but man, can it be stressful if you're not used to it? So some things that can really help is to set up a workstation for yourself, whether you're clearing a spot in the kitchen or it's in, an extra room you may have. It should not be like mine where it's a living room / office because it's too comfy. But find yourself a designated place to do business, 100%. And then come up with a schedule because honestly, humans thrive on routine. And as much as I like to shake it up a little bit, I still really like routine. So get up when you have to get up. Maybe get up an hour early because you're going to have to spend a little time being a 3rd grade teacher now to your daughter. Or that's just me. So get up early, do your morning routine still, continue with self-care, continue to go for runs or work out at home, and just make sure you're still doing the things that you need to do to keep your mind right and your head focused and your heart in a good place too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's good.
But routines will really help.
I wrote one of the biggest things that I think we should do. It's so simple is get dressed.
Yeah.
Because would you get
get
out of your PJs, because that's something that can get you in that mindset of working.
I even so in my LinkedIn post, I have a pair of heels on with my yoga pants because something about heels make me feel like I'm at work.
Yeah.
Right. Even if I have comfy pants on and a lot of people responded with, oh, I'm business on top and party on the bottom. Cause I totally get it.
Yeah.
Conference calls.
Yep.
So dress the part, take a shower, put your makeup on, and you'll feel like you're still ready to go to work.
Yeah. One of the biggest tips for me working from home, I use a online program called Brain FM, and it's ambient noise that's helps you focus because I get distracted super easily.
I listen to Kids Bop and it's really distracting.
Yeah, no, Brain FM. It's just repetitive, rhythmic music, but it helps you focus.
Very cool.
And I can link that in our show notes if people want to.
We can link Kids Bop too if you'd like.
So for those who have a corporate job and they are maybe the CEO of a company, what can those CEOs do to help their employees during a time of uncertainty?
So communication is key, right? That's kind of the biggest piece for high-level executives leading a massive amount of people during a time like this. Unfortunately, they may not have any information to communicate because they're at the mercy of New York State. They're waiting for information or the government to tell us what to do. But they can still communicate to their teammates, maybe their thoughts, their feelings, options of if this happens, this is what we're going to do, even just to check in. I think communication is absolutely key. And then to try to come at it from a human perspective, understanding that some people are going to lose everything. They're going to lose their livelihood. As a CEO, you're making tons of money, but maybe the administrative assistant is not. And maybe she's got 4 kids and a single mother and has to feed her children. And now she has to be their teacher too, and she's losing her job. So try to be a little empathetic and understanding of every level underneath your company, that it's not just going to be the management team that's still on salary, they're going to be okay, or half of the people are going to go, but we'll still be okay because we still have half of the workers doing the work. I think we definitely have to focus on the business and how that's going to thrive, because ultimately, if it doesn't, no one's going to have a job. But in the meantime, I think looking at it from all levels and all perspectives, and how can I help everybody at different levels? I mean, if you want to give some of your salary to them, I would highly suggest it.
Or not take a salary.
Or not take a salary during that time. Absolutely. There's many options, but I think you have to humanize the situation and, I mean, cry with them, because there's going to be a lot of tears. And they may look at you like you're kind of crazy because you make all this money, but help them. What's a small cut to you if it means the entire, administrative staff can feed their family, So there's options for them, but it starts with communication, being transparent.
Yeah, that's good. Besides keeping a social distance during this time, what can we do to support each other? Because, I think sometimes, like, when we're in a crisis like this, we're told to stay indoors, but we want to support businesses, but, what are some things that we can do to support each other? I love what you said before about, like, watch for the helpers. Like,
Absolutely.
how can we practically do that?
Especially if you're stuck in the house, right? So how do you do that? So, I mean, we're all on social media at this point, especially if we're stuck in the house and we've already done the schoolwork with the kids and we've done work already. So if you see a story that looks awesome, share it on your social media sites. Tell people, I saw this happen, or you're going to the grocery store, maybe help someone there if they need help. I've posted on my social media, who needs help? Who can I help? Do you live at home alone? Let's FaceTime. Let's, my kid will put on a show for you. Like, watch her fake talent show in the living room. Like, there are a lot of people who live alone right now and are scared and lonely, and boredom's going to drive them crazy. Other people are really struggling with their businesses. So if I'm a coach, I'm helping anyone I can, and I'm not charging them during this time, which sounds crazy when other people are scrambling to discount things and sell like gift certificates now so they can kind of stack up that money. And because of the scarcity mindset, of course, where I'm doing the complete opposite. Anyone who needs help in their business, just to brainstorm. I'm a life, career, and business coach. So I'm more than happy to have conversations with people. I can't spend all day with them, obviously. But anything I can do during this time, I'm going to, which is nice. So do that for them. Whatever your expertise in is, how can you help people, to feel calm during this time? If you're a meditation teacher and no one's coming to your classes, maybe you do online guided meditations and private Facebook groups or FaceTime parties. Me and my girlfriends are talking about, I turned 40 in 2 weeks and I was going to have a big party, but now it's going to be a FaceTime party. We're going to, wine stores deliver. So I am now, I know, right? So they're getting creative, right? These wine stores are now delivering, because there are now moms that are teachers who will need the wine. So the four of us will get on group chat and we will just, no kids allowed, and we will drink wine and hang out and just talk and just have a good time together. So we're not losing that social connection or losing our minds, to be honest, because isolation is not what we're meant to do as humans. But yeah, be there for each other, be there virtually if that's your only option. Help businesses to thrive. If you have the means to buy gift certificates to those that are doing that, buy their gift certificates, especially if you use their services anyway. Go on virtual tours of museums, like fuel your mind. Use this as an opportunity to learn a new language. Like, there's so many different things we can do so we don't become isolated and stale in our professional or personal side of life.
Yep. That's so true. Do you have any like books or like recommendations?
Girl, do you see all these books behind me?
That is, but like for those listening
Book
who can't
club.
see those books,
Yeah, sure.
who like what, because there's some time on our hands, like what types of books are motivational or goal setting? Right. For example, I'm reading Atomic Habits right now, which is amazing and life-changing by James Clear. What do you recommend?
The Bible, first of all. Yes. So let's get honest that we're going to need some of that love. I have a daily devotional, a Joyce Meyer's book that I read every day, and it gets my mind right, whether we're in crisis or not. My Time with God, by Joyce Meyer's daily devotional. I'm actually in the middle of writing one myself too, which is so cool. I don't know. So that's a good one. The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy is a nice starter. The Energy Bus by John Gordon is a good one. And they're easy reads too. Get a book on tape and listen. There's actually so many websites that are floating around social media right now to help you either read, to take tours of museums.
Overdrive, which is the library one.
Yep. science projects for kids. I mean, if you have a backyard, go explore, try to find 50 rocks in 10 minutes and then paint them, so there's so many different things that we can do. But yeah, there's tons of books that can absolutely fuel your mind.
Do you follow anybody like on YouTube or social media that you consume their content that like motivates you that you could recommend?
Yep. I love Ed Milet.
Who?
Ed Milet, Mylett.
Okay.
He also loves Jesus. He is a huge muscle man who comes off very strong and very like no excuses, and I like that. I like that personality, but he also talks a lot about God.
Okay.
And he came from humble means. He was a baseball player that got injured, and his career totally kind of ended, and so he started working at a home for boys, and then realized like in that moment that was his calling, that he's meant to help young men change their lives for the better. So he's a speaker that I enjoy. I love Marie Forleo, Brene Brown. Who else? I mean, there's so many. Tony Robbins is a fun one. He's kind of like a high energy crazy pants. Another one who doesn't let you have excuses, right? And that's kind of what I do for women. I help them to stop negotiating with the excuses that they have for themselves.
After this pandemic passes, or in any type of like scarcity mindset has kind of dwindled, how can we move forward in our careers? Like, what tips do you have for redirection and refocusing?
So first, I think they should be doing it now, right? Before it passes. This, now, today, this moment, hit pause, grab your notebook, rewind it, listen again. This is the time to actually make those changes, or to, at the very least, to start brainstorming those changes. This is where you can reinvent yourself, position yourself as an expert, tweak your social media sites, create a personal brand, start to live the life on paper, because maybe you don't leave the house yet, but live the life on paper that you were meant to live. Why are you here? Answer these important questions. Who are you? Why are you here? What are your gifts? Who are you meant to serve? And then how can you execute that? Create that plan today. So when this does pass, and it will, because it always does, then what are your first few steps to taking that change and to making that happen, and to finally living the life you were called to live?
Preach it.
Yeah, yes. I know, right? Amen.
Keep going. Like that's I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, they have to start now. You absolutely have to start now. If you take this time, and you should absolutely take this time to take a step back, right? And maybe start meditating and reflect on what's going on and how you feel about it, and get closer to your family. But don't just let it pass you by. And 4 or so weeks have passed and you've done nothing to grow. You want to come out of this stronger and healthier and ready for the next stage of your life, whatever that may be. But the cool thing is you have more control than you think to say what that next step is.
Yeah. Yes. I love that. So what are your personal business goals for the rest of 2020?
So the goals will stay the same. I will tweak a little bit. So I mentioned I'm in the middle of a book, so I will continue to write. I will take a lot of my talks that I have performed over the last 10 years or so, and turn a few of the really cool ones into online courses. So that is happening sooner than later because of what we're going through.
How do you do that?
I have no idea. I'm going to Google it as soon as you leave. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally kidding. There are a few people that I've kind of partnered with to help me do that. But I think Loom is one of the great sites, Loom, that can help you create, it's almost like a PowerPoint with your face in the corner of video. So that's one that I've been kind of pushed to. So I'm going to learn a little about that. I teach myself how to do these things, to be honest. I mean, if you've got a search engine and internet connection, you can pretty much do whatever you want.
You talked about earlier, I loved this. I wrote it down in my notes too. You help your clients stop negotiating the excuses they have for themselves. Like, can you expand upon that a little bit? Because it's so needed in a time like this.
Absolutely. Anytime too, to be honest, because I feel even when we're in a time like this, we usually step up, right? So we'll get things done because we have to. But when the time is not like this and it's just chill and every day is just every day, that's when we start to let our excuses take over. So as a career coach, I help people to negotiate their salaries daily. But as a life coach, I refuse to let people negotiate with their excuses. So if you
Can you give me an example of an excuse?
If one of your goals is to lose weight or to get healthier, run, or anything physical, and you say, well, I just don't have any time. I'm so busy. I work. I've got kids. Of course, everybody works and has kids, but you still see people running in the neighborhood, right? So the excuse is that you don't have time. It's always time, money, or like a person, right? But really what it is, that's ourselves. We are at this point proving to ourselves that we can't do it through our excuses. Once we stop negotiating with those excuses, we can keep a promise to ourselves and prove to ourselves that we're capable of doing awesome things. So if I can find out what those excuses are, and I play a game, I don't know if I can swear on this, so I won't, but it's called Legit or BS, and it rhymes. So is this legit? And then we'll go through all your excuses. Is it a legit excuse? That means it's an obstacle. Let's find a way around it. Or is it crap? And it's just a story you're telling yourself, or somebody helped you create, or your mom told you, or your uncle told you one day that you couldn't run or something because he's a runner and you could never be him, whatever it may be, right? So we'll go through that game, and I make it fun, of course, but I also make it sassy. And is it legit? Is time a real factor? You work 9 to 5, you've got kids. Like I can't go to the gym in the morning because my husband does. So is that a legit obstacle? Yes, because we've agreed as a family that he'll go to the gym at 5 a.m. because I'm not getting up that early. So what do I need to do then? Maybe I go downstairs and do Beachbody on demand in my living room while my kids are still sleeping. So I may not be able to run the neighborhood because my kid's little and she can't be home alone, but I can go downstairs and I can absolutely do something. Even if I'm squatting in my living room for an hour, I can work up a sweat, because the goal is not, if the goal is to specifically run, then you got to find time for the run. But if it's just to work out, you can work out anywhere. So what's the excuse? How can we get around it? Find a resource for it. And that's what masterminds do, is help you to gather women of resources, right? To help you achieve those goals. And then it's no longer an excuse. You've broken free of that excuse. Something usually clicks inside them and they're like, oh, that's a valid point. Crap. And then they're like, yeah, I'm going to show up for myself. I show up for my family. I show up for my job. I show up for my partner. Why am I not showing up for myself? So once we bust that excuse, they start to work towards their goal. Even if they don't hit their goal, they're working towards it. They've now kept a promise to themselves, and they've proven to themselves that they're worthy and that they're capable of overcoming that excuse.
So I keep going back to this book because I'm like in the middle of it. But in Atomic Habits, he says, like, if we're going on that goal of losing weight, he says, like, somebody that he knew was able to lose weight by becoming the mindset of a healthy person. And every choice she made, she's like, would a healthy person do this? Would a healthy person eat this? Would a healthy person whatever. And she became in that mindset of a healthy person, and she was able to lose 100 pounds.
You're living as if already, right? So when people are talking about manifesting, you have to manifest in your mind first. Right. So if you are this buff, chiseled babe running down Baywatch bikini, no, I'm totally kidding. But if you are healthy and you're 100 pounds less, you have to live as if you already are. You're living as your future self today. So 100-pound lighter Miranda does not go through McDonald's drive-thrus. You know what I mean? Like, maybe today version does, but the future version does not. So that means when I'm driving by, I'm not going in because I don't do that anymore. That's not something, that's not how I live. Yeah.
Right. Or if like say you're trying to quit smoking and somebody offers you a cigarette, and you can have two responses. You can say, no, I'm trying to quit, which is the mindset of a smoker. Yep. Or you could say, no, I'm not a smoker. Yeah, I don't smoke. Yep. We know this by your bio that you're the queen of LinkedIn. And since this is a business podcast, can you share your top LinkedIn strategy?
Absolutely. So LinkedIn, everybody should be on it first and foremost. I think some people will say like, well, I sell clothes or I sell makeup. I shouldn't be on LinkedIn. And I joke and say, have you ever been to an office where they're naked and don't have makeup on? Like that's legit, right? Or even real estate agents, like, do these people in 9-to-5s not live in homes? Like they do. So yes, absolutely should be on it. And it's not just for personal brands. It's no longer a site for your resume. It has evolved in so many ways. It's wonderful. It's actually the professional version of all the other sites, right? It's kind of how I put it together. It has the top organic reach. So if you're looking to grow your business, grow your brand, get a message out, you are going to get it out to the most people organically without having to purchase anything. It's free. The biggest strategy is to just figure out, answer those questions, who you are, who you serve, what you do, and then fill out your profile to get to the all-star status. And then just start connecting. Start connecting with people.
How do you get to an all-star status?
It's really just filling out everything.
What's the benchmark?
I think you have to have like two pictures, which is your background and your profile picture. You have to have like your tagline, some information in the about section. It's just filling out the categories.
So you don't even need to have 500 connections.
No, not yet. Nope.
Okay.
You should, but because that gets you to a different level. It's not titled a different level, but it does kind of tell LinkedIn that you are out there and you're creating community. But the thing that actually gets you the most bang for your no bucks is creating conversations. So I call it the 3 C's to LinkedIn. And first one is to connect, obviously to connect to people. The second one is to contribute. So you're contributing to people's conversations, whatever they post, you're having a conversation. And then the third one is to create. So creating your own stuff. And then people will start to see that either you're an expert in your field, or that you have really cool things to say and they just want to be around you. So everybody should be on LinkedIn. Use the 3 C's to build your brand and your profile and to increase your reach. And whether that's growing a business or your personal brand in general, or to find a new job, to network, because that's really what that's about. It's a networking site. And then come to LinkedIn Local, because a lot of towns have it, not just Albany.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. That's cool. And if someone's like not in a position to be taking notes for this episode, or they're driving, we'll have all this information in our show notes, which is at workinglunchpod.com, with all the links to what you talked about. So as we wrap up our discussion, what do you typically do for lunch, Miranda?
Well, I guess it depends on where I am. Typically, outside of our current situation, I'm usually working at like Panera or Starbucks or a co-working space, and I'm meeting somebody, having a conversation like this. I do enjoy turkey sandwiches, if you wanted to get specific.
Okay. No, that's good. I like specifics.
Okay, cool. I love turkey sandwiches with pickles. And if I'm at Panera, it's going to be that really bad for you green tea, although I'm obsessed with it. And sometimes now, more so these days, lunch has been in my backyard.
Love it.
Yeah.
So what are your social media handles? Where can people find you?
Pretty much anywhere with Miranda VonFricken. Facebook, LinkedIn is number 1, then Facebook and Instagram. And I'm now on TikTok. I can't tell you that it's fantastic yet, but my daughter taught me TikTok. She's embarrassed that I'm on it.
Awesome. Thank you so much today for your time. And I wish you all the success as you continue with the rest of this year.
Thank you so much.
That was branding coach, mastermind, motivational speaker, and LinkedIn queen, Miranda VonFricken. Visit our show notes at workinglunchpod.com for links, photos, and the video of our interview. We're always looking for more women who are killing it in their career, so if there's someone who you think we should feature as a guest, send us a DM on Instagram at workinglunchpod or email us at workinglunchpod@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening to Working Lunch and subscribing. We really appreciate the love and support. I'm sending you all a virtual hug. Please stay safe out there, wash your hands, and remember, your biggest strength is who you are.